Join our eerie family and become a part of something truly mysterious. Help us grow our new channel as we dive deeper into the unknown. Together, we'll uncover secrets and explore the darkness. Don't miss out. I never thought I'd end up living in a Victorian-style mansion in the middle of nowhere. But here I am, typing this from my new home office while watching dead leaves dance across my front yard. The house stands like a forgotten postcard from the 1890s. 3 stories of weathered red brick, elaborate white trim that's peeling in places, and windows so tall they make me feel like I'm being watched by the house itself. The realtor practically gave it away, probably because it's a 40-minute drive from the nearest Walmart and hasn't seen a renovation since the Carter administration. But that's exactly what I wanted, somewhere far from the constant notifications, car horns, and the suffocating pressure of city life. I'd saved enough from my remote coding job to afford a place where I could actually hear myself think. The surrounding woods stretch for miles, creating this weird bubble of silence that made my ears ring for the first few days. The previous owners left behind some furniture too heavy to move, massive oak pieces that smell like old books and furniture polish. The first week was exactly what I needed. I set up my workspace in the library. Yeah, this place actually has a library. Got into a solid routine of work, walks in the woods, and evening Netflix binges. The internet connection wasn't great, but that was kind of the point of moving here. My sleep schedule finally normalized without city lights bleeding through my curtains. Then things started getting different. Not scary, not yet, but different enough to make me question my sanity sometimes, like how my coffee mug keeps ending up in different places. At first, I blamed it on sleep deprivation. Working remote means your schedule gets weird sometimes. But yesterday I distinctly remember leaving it by my keyboard before grabbing a snack. When I came back, it was sitting on the windowsill, still half full, but stone cold. The temperature is another thing that's been messing with my head. This house has zones. You know, those fancy thermostats where you can heat different rooms separately. I installed smart thermostats in every room. Perks of being a tech guy. But some rooms just won't stay warm. The library is the worst offender. I'll set it to a toasty 75 degrees Fahrenheit, and my smart home app confirms the heat is running, but it feels like I'm sitting in a walk-in freezer. I've checked for drafts, called an HVAC guy who found nothing wrong, and even bought an infrared camera to look for cold spots. Everything looks normal, but it feels like winter in there, even when other rooms are perfectly comfortable. My friends think I'm having some sort of quarter-life crisis, moving to this massive old house by myself. They keep sending me listings for modern apartments back in the city, but despite these weird quirks, I'm not ready to give up on this place. The quiet here is different. It has weight to it. Sometimes, when I'm working late at night, the silence feels almost alive, like it's paying attention to what I'm doing. I've started keeping a log of these occurrences, trying to find patterns. The rational part of my brain says there's probably a logical explanation for everything. Old houses settle, pipes make weird noises, and memory plays tricks on you when you're alone. But last night, while I was updating my log, my laptop suddenly shut down. Not a crash or a blue screen, it just went black, even though it was plugged in. When I got it running again, the document was gone. Not in my recently deleted files, not in any backup, just gone, like it never existed. I'm starting a new log now, but this time I'm keeping it on cloud storage. Maybe I'm being paranoid, but I can't shake the feeling that something doesn't want me documenting these incidents. Still, I'm not leaving. This house, with all its quirks and cold spots and disappearing coffee mugs, feels more like home than my sterile city apartment ever did. Besides, I've already spent most of my savings on this place. I'm kind of committed now. Tomorrow, I'm having someone come look at the electrical system. The lights in the library keep flickering, even though I replaced all the bulbs with new LEDs. It's probably just old wiring, but better safe than sorry. At least, that's what I keep telling myself as I lie awake at night, listening to what sounds like footsteps in the hallway above my bedroom. The hallway that's part of the sealed-off third floor I haven't figured out how to access yet. You ever get that feeling someone's reading over your shoulder? That prickly sensation on the back of your neck that makes you want to spin around real quick and catch them in the act? That's become my constant companion in this house. It started about a week after the electrical guy came to check the wiring. Spoiler alert, he found nothing wrong, just like everyone else I've called. The feeling is strongest at night. I've switched to working during daylight hours because I can't handle the weight of whatever watches me from the doorway of my home office after sunset. And yeah, I know exactly where it stands, always in that same spot, just at the edge of my peripheral vision. The moment I turn to look, there's nothing there except shadows that seem to move a fraction too slowly. My sleep schedule is completely wrecked now. I've developed this weird habit of pressing my back against the wall while I'm in bed, just so nothing can get behind me. The other night, around 3 a.m., I felt the mattress sink like someone sat down on the edge. My heart nearly stopped. I lay there for what felt like hours, eyes squeezed shut, barely breathing. When I finally got the courage to look, the depression was still there, slowly rising back to normal as if whatever made it had just stood up. The footsteps upstairs have gotten more frequent. They're not even trying to be subtle anymore. It sounds like someone pacing back and forth, heel toe, directly above my bedroom. I've mapped out the third floor from outside, counting windows and estimating room layouts. There should be a door or staircase accessing it somewhere, but every time I think I've figured out where it should be, I just find blank walls. I've started knocking on the walls looking for hollow spots. Yesterday, something knocked back. But the worst part? The absolute worst part that's making me question everything I thought I knew about reality. I heard my mom's voice last night. Let me be clear. My mom passed away 3 years ago from cancer. I was there when it happened. I would recognize her voice anywhere. It started as a whisper, so faint I thought I was imagining it. Just my name, called softly from somewhere in the house. I ignored it at first. Lack of sleep can make you hear things, right? Then it got louder, more insistent.
Sweetie, come here. I need to show you something.
Her exact words, in her exact voice, with that slight southern drawl she never could shake. It was coming from the library. The same library that never gets warm, where my stuff keeps disappearing. I sat in my bedroom, shaking, as her voice called out to me for hours. She sounded worried, urgent, like when I was a kid and she caught me doing something dangerous. I finally broke down and called my best friend Jake at 4 a.m. He's into all that paranormal stuff I used to make fun of. While I was telling him everything, the voice stopped. Complete silence fell over the house, the kind that feels like a held breath. Jake listened to my increasingly panicked rambling and then said something that made my blood run cold.
Don't respond to it. That's not your mum.
Jake's coming over tomorrow with some people he knows, paranormal investigators or ghost hunters or whatever they call themselves. I used to think that stuff was complete BS, but I'm out of options. The voice is getting more convincing, more like her. Last night it was crying, begging me to help her. Do you know how hard it is to ignore your mother's voice when she's crying? I'm writing this from my car in the driveway. The house is dark except for the library window, where a light keeps turning on and off. I didn't leave any lights on when I ran out here. My laptop's about to die and I left the charger inside. but I'm not going back in there, not alone, not until Jake and his team arrive. The light in the library just went out again. But this time, I swear, I saw someone standing at the window, looking down at me. Someone about my mom's height with her familiar silhouette. As I'm typing this, my phone just lit up with a text. It's from my mom's old number, which hasn't been active since she died. The message just says,
"Come back inside, sweetie. It's cold out there."
Jake showed up at dawn with 3 other people. A tiny woman with more crystals than a New Age shop, a dude who looked like he just stepped out of a university physics lab, and an older guy wearing a priest's collar. Not exactly the Ghost Adventures crew I was expecting. They took one look at my sleep-deprived face and the dozens of texts from my mom's number, and immediately told me to get a hotel room while they handled things. I didn't want to leave. Part of me still thought maybe, just maybe, it really was my mom trying to contact me. The priest guy, Father Mike, grabbed my shoulder and said something I'll never forget.
"Whatever's in there wearing your mother's voice, it's not her. It's like a spider wearing a butterfly's wings to lure in its prey."
That got me moving. So there I was, sitting in my car across the street, watching these 4 people enter my house with duffel bags full of equipment I couldn't even guess the purpose of. The physicist dude had something that looked like a Geiger counter crossed with a gaming console. The crystal lady was burning some kind of herbs that made thick white smoke pour out the front door. Father Mike just walked in like he was showing up for a casual lunch meeting. What happened next? I still have trouble processing it. The house seemed to wake up. All the windows slammed shut at once. Through the glass, I could see lights flickering everywhere, not just in the library. The smoke from the herbs started forming shapes, actual human-like shapes that dissolved and reformed. Then the screaming started. It wasn't my mom's voice anymore. It wasn't even human. The best way I can describe it is the sound a dial-up modem would make if it was being tortured. Car alarms went off up and down the street. In the library window, I saw something press against the glass so hard I thought it would break. It had too many fingers. This went on for exactly 66 minutes. I timed it because focusing on numbers helped me stay sane. Then, everything just stopped. The silence was so sudden, it felt like someone had stuffed cotton in my ears. Father Mike walked out first, his collar askew, looking like he'd aged 10 years. The others followed, the physicist guy clutching his broken equipment, the crystal lady supported by Jake. They were all covered in what looked like black cobwebs. Jake gave me a thumbs up, but Father Mike is the one who explained. Apparently, my house had been some kind of supernatural magnet, drawing in whatever was closest. In this case, it found my grief over my mom and used it like a fisherman uses bait. The thing pretending to be her wasn't a ghost. It was more like a parasite that fed on emotional pain. The more I would have interacted with it, the stronger it would have gotten. They cleansed the house. I don't fully understand the process. It involved quantum physics terms I couldn't follow. Sacred geometry, Jake tried to explain 3 times, and what Father Mike simply called the old ways. The crystal lady, Sarah, set up protection points throughout the house. The 3rd floor is accessible now. Turns out there was always a door. The thing was just making me overlook it. It's been a month since then. I'm still in the house, believe it or not. The library stays warm now. Nothing moves my coffee cups. My mom's old number hasn't sent any more texts, but sometimes when I'm working late I still feel something watching me. Sarah says that's normal, like spiritual scar tissue. The house remembers what happened, and so do I. The team left me with protection crystals, which I actually use now, holy water, just in case, and a quantum frequency generator that's basically a really expensive nightlight. Father Mike stops by monthly for what he calls maintenance checks. Jake's teaching me about warding symbols and energy cleansing, stuff I would have laughed at 2 months ago. Yesterday, I finally went up to the 3rd floor. It's just storage space and old furniture draped in sheets. No mysterious symbols, no ritual circles, no signs of anything supernatural. But as I was leaving, I found something that made me freeze. A small, framed photo lying face down in a corner. It was my mom, at least 20 years ago, standing in front of this very house. She's smiling and pointing at the library window. I've tried calling my dad to ask about the photo, but he swears we've never been here before. I keep the photo in my desk drawer now. Sometimes I think about burning it, but something stops me every time. Maybe some questions are better left unanswered. Maybe some doors, once opened, can never fully close. At least the house feels like home now. Not the false comfort it offered when I first moved in, but a real sense of belonging. We've been through something together, this old house and I. The silence here isn't heavy anymore. It's more like a shared secret. And if sometimes late at night I hear what sounds like my mom humming her favorite song from somewhere upstairs, well, I've learned there's a difference between a real haunting and the echoes of memory. Most days, I'm pretty sure I know which one this is. Most days,